So we're going to work through one of my favourite hip stability exercises. This is taken from Kathy Dooley, Immaculate Dissection. It's a fantastic exercise for helping integrate everything through your core and your centre. Half kneeling. So tall kneeling to half kneeling, really important movement. I'm going to take you through a couple of different variations as we go through. It seems like it should be something really simple, but it can be quite challenging depending if you've got any issues through the hips or pelvis. So starting in tall kneeling, you can have some padding underneath your knees if that feels more appropriate for you. If you feel okay with your knees down onto the ground, then that's fine. So the hands are going to come just to the outsides of the hips to start with, and what I like to start with is a little bit of a hip transition. So you're going to send the hips over towards the right hand side, and then come back to centre, and then send the hips over to the left. And you might notice here for me, as I come over to the left hand side, got a lot more leeway to come over to that left hand side. My right hand side is a bit stiffer and I can feel that's a bit tighter into my hip there. So that is the leg that I don't like putting as much weight on. I spend a lot more time on my left hand side. So noticing first if there's any change. This is important because as you get into the next stage, we need to understand how you transition the weight off of one leg and onto another so that you can lift the opposite one up. So from here, I'll stay facing in this direction. You are going to shift the weight over onto your right leg and then slowly transition with your left leg coming forwards and onto the ground. You'll relax down through the shoulders and we're going to spend a little bit of time here. So if you need to hold on to your hips or your pelvis, then you can. If you need to have a support underneath your hand, then you can. So just lightly use it if you need that for balance. What you should feel here is an integration of everything working through your core and your pelvis to hold yourself in this position. You can see here my left leg is slightly out to the left. It's much easier to stabilize in this position here. I've got a wider, more diagonal base of support rather than bring it in line. So if I bring my heel and my toe, knee and hip in line here, this is my harder leg to balance on, so this is the one that I will want to spend a bit more time on. Shoulders relax and breathe. Maybe you can see in the video that I'm having to work a little bit around the muscles of the pelvis to hold myself into position. You might be experiencing this in different ways. Maybe you're holding your breath. Maybe your hands are clenching, maybe your jaw's tightening, maybe the shoulders are hunching. So notice for those things, they're all really good core compensators if it's difficult for you to access the movement into the core. So I'm going to bring my left leg back now, and then right leg forwards. So already for me, this feels a much more comfortable position. I'm much more balanced on this leg. I'm going to bring everything into line here. Maybe again you can notice in the video as I do a few more breaths here that this is steadier on this side compared to the other side. And then slowly coming back. So that's more of a static challenge, holding your balance in that position. Then we can get a bit more dynamic. I'm going to show you this from a side view now, just so you can see the spacing that we're meant to have between the feet and the legs. So from here, hands again relaxed onto the pelvis, or maybe one hand to the chest and one hand down to the navel. I'm going to shift my weight over onto my right leg again, so that was the first side, and bring my left leg forwards. And what I'm looking for here as I bring my left leg forwards is that the heel is underneath the knee, the heel, the knee and the hip are all in line, and that my right hip is over my right knee. So I'm nice and central. I'm not hanging out to the side like this. I'm not like this. Pressing through the knee, nice and tall, integrating the whole body to support myself into the movement. Then when I'm ready, I'm going to bring the left foot back. As you're moving the left foot, you're trying to make it as smooth as possible. So not ninja-like, coming forwards and back. That's fine, but you're not able to do the movement slowly necessarily if you can do it fast. If you can do it slowly, then it normally means that you can do it faster and with control. So when you're ready, slowly bringing the left leg back, finding that little balance point, and then shifting over to the left, and bring the right leg forwards, and then slowly back. And if you feel okay there, then maybe you can slow it down a little bit. So you hover the foot, at each stage as it comes through. And then hover, 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 and that's a little bit more challenging there. Also, what we're looking for as the leg comes through, ideally, is that you can shift and keep the hip and the knee and the foot in line as you come through and as you come back, as opposed to a sweep out to the side like that. Maybe you've had a knee replacement, maybe there's issues with the knee or with the hip, and that might make it a bit more challenging. So try the best that you can. You shouldn't feel any pain as you go through the movement coming forwards and back. And again, just doing this maybe 10 or 15 times, and it will give you a little bit of feedback to see how everything is integrating and maybe which leg you are dominant on more than the other.